So you may have been one of the unlucky people who decided to watch the new Marvel show Echo on Disney+. You know, I really hate being negative. I do. But when a TV show is this bad, you have to call it out as the train wreck that it is. One way to describe Echo? It's like an Aboriginal Blue Beetle without the beetle suit. Instead of a Hispanic family, you have an Aboriginal one, which is fine. But I'm not sure if the entire Aboriginal community is going to enjoy how they were portrayed. But it's a preference, we'll see. I want to touch on a couple of positives before getting into the show's dirty laundry. Sometimes trying ambitious new things is a good thing to do in a film or TV show. And making a main character deaf who communicates exclusively in sign language is as ambitious as it gets for a Marvel superhero show. Any show, really. It was a big gamble, and I give full credit to the actress who plays Maya Lopez, Alaqua Cox, for putting in great effort. It's a role that checks a lot of boxes. A deaf female Aboriginal amputee. And the show is going to get a lot of fans and accolades because of it. And you know what? That's fine. I respect Alaqua Cox for what she is trying to accomplish and have no problem supporting her in breaking new ground. But, there is a but. Because of the abhorrent script, this show is a seriously bad watch. It's another Marvel show that has been shot and reshot, then stitched together, creating a choppy mess that barely forms a coherent story. There are so many things that makes this show boring and lifeless. Each scene is a mini exposition dump with characters that are not even two-dimensional. We're talking one-dimensional cardboard cutouts. Characters seem to have a singular purpose and are set up in scenes that give them a flat and stereotypical feel. There is absolutely no mystery or suspense to be found anywhere in this show. The plot is simplistic and you watch each scene almost knowing what is going to happen next, or at least you have a really good idea of what's coming. The problem with this show starts right with the log line. A log line is supposed to summarize what the TV show is all about and is usually created by the writer. It should intrigue you and get you interested to watch the show. But Echo's logline is a description that reads more like a biography than a superhero drama. Maya Lopez must face her past, reconnect with her Native American roots, and embrace the meaning of family and community if she ever hopes to move forward. I mean, that is about as boring as it gets. What does move forward even mean? Who's the antagonist? What's the conflict? In the screenwriting business here in Los Angeles, it is universally known that the log line is the most important single line for any TV show or movie. It summarizes who the protagonist is, the impending conflict, and the antagonist that they are going to be going up against. The first thing any agent or producer will ask you for, if you're trying to get them to read your script, is the log line. It's that important, and they may make their decision based solely on that. Disney expended no effort to come up with a compelling logline and shows that they had no guiding vision, focused story idea, or conflict to base this TV show around. It's long-winded and doesn't even hint at what the stakes are or even who the antagonist is. It proves how little effort was put into writing and producing this show, and that they really didn't have any great story ideas right from the start. Let's talk dialogue, shall we? I mean, wow. Talk about bad dialogue. A bad dialogue has become the cornerstone to any Disney Marvel TV show and movie. The writers made Echo a pretty simple character. She's angry and appears stoic in almost every scene. The show clumsily moves through the plot, trying to create an unconvincing conflict between Echo and some of her family members. They use underdeveloped plot points that try and force the audience to feel for Echo. There is no subtext, no mystery. We don't even care about any of the characters, including most of all, Echo. We really don't bond with her, and if you don't bond with the main character, the show is dead in the water right from the start. I always say if a writer uses sex or sexually premised incidents as a pretext to introduce conflict and tension, then you know that they have no ideas or that they're just a novice writer. We saw this in Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon that used sex a number of times to motivate the characters into a conflict. The Echo writers used a sexual premise early on to ignite the first fight scene, and it's a total eye-roll scene. Echo is checked for weapons by a guard, and during the pat-down, the guy does such an obvious and telegraphed inappropriate grab that really projects the low quality of this Disney Plus show. It's simplistic and uses the most basic of motivations to move the story forward. Each scene is meant to give nothing more than rudimentary information about a character for a story that is as simple as 1 + 1 = 2 and lacks any believable physical or emotional intensity. But it tries hard, and that too is a part of the problem. It tries too hard. Echo is another example of terrible writing that is paired with terrible production and acting. When there is a complete void of any creative ideas to stimulate your mind, you will lose interest fast in that TV show and never return to watch it again, which is how I feel about the last 2 episodes that I still have to watch. I mean, this show is raw, basic, unimaginative, boring, and gets its inspiration by asserting a sense of victimhood in the protagonist. Something else I have to mention is the opening scenes in episodes 2 and 3. They were so cringe and reason enough for not to continue watching this show. I'm serious. Not because it was a woman beating a man. No. We assumed that this is an ancestor of Echo, so she would have special powers, so that's okay. It was the way they filmed it and how it was acted out. If you haven't watched Echo yet and don't want to, at least watch these 2 scenes, the first scene in episode 2 and 3, and let me know what your thoughts are. It literally exemplifies this show perfectly at how bad it is. There was one episode where they used a roller skating barn as one of the main locations that felt like a ripoff from some cheaply made 1980s teenage film. I mean, I couldn't believe it. They try and make Echo out to be a rebellious and angry superhero, but lacks both the super and the hero, creating a character with a stale personality. It's one of the worst shows that Disney Marvel has ever made, and I totally understand why they dropped all 5 episodes at once, so that they didn't have to deal with a 5-week stretch of fans and critics telling them how bad this show really is. By the way, they paid $10 million per episode for this show, the same amount they spent per episode of Game of Thrones. There's some perspective for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving Echo a score of 4. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video. Cheers.